Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rajesh. I'm going to take you through this session that is iVend Handheld for effective inventory planning. First of all, thanks to everyone for joining this session and taking time from your busy schedules to share with us. Uh, I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear. If you have any queries, any questions, that we'll take care during the session as well as at the end of the session. So in today's session, we are going to cover the topic related to inventory planning, where we have incorporated a new enhancement into our iVend Retail 6.2, that is iVend Handheld. So this session would be for an hour, and we will try to cover all the aspects and the scenarios that we could think of on a retail store perspective. We will talk about the inventory planning. We will see that how effective we can make our handles in order to help us in the inventory planning. That means in your stock moments, in your stock takes, and in your item lookups. So starting with today's agenda, we are going to cover the overview of iVend Handheld, that what exactly it is, how how you can have the benefit of this particular iVend Handheld in your retail practices, how easy it actually to work with, and how the interfaces will look like, and how you are going to see these transactions back in iVend Management Console. We'll talk about the licensing and the software prerequisite part of the iVend Handheld, that what exactly we require. Then we'll see some transactions on iVend Handheld, that like how exactly and how effectively we can do the transactions using the handheld Windows mobile devices. We'll see the logins to the handheld device, that how exactly you can log into the device and how you can see, or I must say, the view of the complete inventory management on a small device, which is very important for the retail practices. We will look for the GRPO, that means the goods receipt purchase order. That means whenever you are making any purchase orders from the head office or from any other store, so how easily or effectively you can receive that using the handhelds. We will talk about the shipments and the receipts under stock transfers that we have in iVend Retail, as we all are aware of. We will talk about the stock management, wherein we will see the goods receipt and goods issue transactions. Then we will see a couple of goods returned to the vendors, that how easily we can return the goods to the vendor on the basis of the GRPOs that we have done. And of course the stock take, which is again one of the important part of the store that we will cover in this session. Then we will see the synchronizations with the store. So eventually when we will do the transactions back to back, we will see these synchronizations with iVend Management Console. So first of all, I will have a look on the overview of the iVend Handheld. First of all, everyone, we should have a note for this particular, the iVend Handheld, that we need this module should be running only with iVend 6.2. That means iVend Handheld would be actually compatible with iVend Retail version 6.2 and onwards. Okay. So this is completely compatible with iVend 6.2. It allows your user to manage your store inventory completely on a mobile device, that is a Windows mobile device with an OS of 6.0 or 6.5. So please make sure that the devices, the handheld devices which you are using, that should be basically having the OS, that means the operating system of the Windows mobile of 6.0 and 6.5. Okay, we have tested this on Motorola devices, that is 9190 Motorola series that we have tested, and there is another device which is we have tested on. But we had made sure that we have done this testing on 6.0 and 6.5 OS, and this is completely compatible with these devices. So before putting it to the production, you can of course anytime test this particular the new functionality, which is iVend Handheld, on any of your Windows mobile OS device which is actually having the 6.0 or 6.5. Following with the inventory transactions, we can perform actually on iVend Handheld like GRPO, stock transfers, stock managements, returns to vendor, and the stock take, and of course the item lookup. Broadly, if we look at the item lookup, it is going to show you the exact quantity of this particular item in your warehouse presently, which is available to sell. And then it will talk about the price of this item if you have specified any selling price of this item. So we'll see this during our demonstration. So item lookup is again one of the important part which we have added to the iVend Handheld. Okay, so basically, first of all, if we talk about the iVend Handheld, what should we have in mind? We should know what exactly the prerequisites that we have, what all we should be ready with in order to work with the iVend Handheld device. So we will talk about the prerequisites first. First of all, everybody, we should know that iVend must be on a complete APIs. That means in order to use iVend Handheld, you should have the iVend APIs configured on the machine. You can use this device at the enterprise level as well as at the store level. In both the cases, you have to make sure that the application programming interfaces of iVend, that means iVend API, which comes with the installer when you install the iVend application, you have to make sure that they are installed and configured on your systems in order to use the handheld device. Then we should have a kind of device which is actually going to work on ground to count your inventory, to receive your stock, to make the GRPOs, to make the other inventory movements in your system. We have to make sure that that is on the same network of your store or your enterprise, wherever you are using it. Similarly, we have written here something called as emulator. Emulator is basically a kind of I must say the emulation device which will be available on your PC. It is not a physical device, because whenever we are going for demonstrations or whenever we are going to show it to the customers, we need to make sure that we have one emulator with us which we can use in order to make the inventory transactions to show it to the customers straight away during our demonstration processes. Now, of course, if you have a physical device which is compatible, then definitely we can show this particular option directly on that. Now, we need to make sure that first of all, as we all are aware of, that for the communication of iVend perfectly, we should have certain ports open under the SQL, correct? So if in case you have some Windows firewalls on your store or at the enterprise, then make sure that these ports are opened specifically for SQL. So ideally, if I talk about the ports, we should have the port 1433 open for the SQL services. So definitely we have to make sure that this particular port is opened. Okay. So this is important in order to proceed with the iVend Handheld. So first of all, we need to take a note that this iVend Handheld device should be on the same network of your store or your enterprise in order to work with. The second is your iVend APIs should be configured at the place where you are connecting this device to. The third one is you should have a physical device on the same Wi-Fi network where exactly you are connecting. And of course, the SQL ports should be open in order to make the communication perfectly between the handheld and your static store or static management console or static enterprise solution. Okay. Moving ahead with the session, first of all, before logging to the handheld, I would like to show you a place where exactly these handheld, the executables, or I must say the handheld files will be stored when you install it on iVend Retail Solution. So basically, I'll skip this particular presentation to a particular drive where I will show you that where exactly these handheld files will be located when you will install it on iVend Retail. So it's the same path, everyone, as we all are aware of that. Go to Program Files, go to City Access, wherever you have installed the iVend application, go to iVend Retail, and you can see in the iVend Retail there is a handheld install files available. The same set of files need to be copied on an emulator or on a mobile device which you are going to use in order to work with this particular instance of the handheld. Yep. Now here what we need to understand is we need to make sure that when we are going to make any configurations on that, you need to make sure that we are giving the correct retail settings in order to work that emulator or that device with your static store or with your static enterprise. You can simply open the retail settings by right clicking on it, and you can click on edit so that it can be opened in any form that you want. Basically, I'm opening it in a notepad. So there are two configurations which are actually important in order to make this particular device work with. First is this particular SQL connection. So you need to mention the SQL connection perfectly here. So you can see this string will be available in your installation files when you install it. But what you have to make sure is you have to make sure that you are specifying the different credentials which are important. That means the essential credentials which is actually important in order to connect your device to your iVend retail store or your iVend retail enterprise. Specify your SQL connection like your ID and password right here. Like for my case, I have given my ID, SQL ID, and my password. Data source would definitely be your system where you are actually trying to connect it. So you need to specify the IP address of your data source. So in my case, my data store is my machine itself because I have my SQL installed here, I have my management console installed here, I have my handheld installed here. So I'm giving this data source type as 10.0.67.25. This is what the local IP for my machine, and then I have specified a port which is 1433 specifically opened for SQL Server. And in case you are not applying any firewalls, you're not applying any a kind of antivirus, then in that case you do not have to specify this port. Okay, but if in case you are you are having some Windows firewalls on the system, and of course in that case, in that particular firewall you have to make sure that this port is open. And similarly for the antivirus, if suppose you have some antivirus activated here, then definitely you have to specify this port over there to get it open. Okay, so that's why we are specifying this port. Then of course you need to specify the database, because this is again very important, that to which database you are going to connect this device with. So you need to specify that database. So we will specify that here. In my case it is CXS Retail Demo. Now there is another configuration which you have to do in the same XML, that is your APIs. Why we need this configuration? Because iVend Handheld is communicating to your store server with two different methods, correct? Or I must say with one single method. I won't call it as two methods, because if I say two methods, one would be the SQL, which is actually the case, but not. Why? I will explain you. Because our iVend Handheld is connected to our store using the APIs. And that's the reason we are configuring the API services on the store server. So definitely we need to specify this API service as well. This API service URL is mandatory in order to connect our iVend Handheld to my iVend store or to my enterprise, depending upon the requirement. So you need to make sure that you have configured the APIs correctly, and when you run the API services, you should have that response correctly as you require for the API services, and you have to make sure that you are specifying the complete URL here. If in our case what happens is, when we install iVend, when we install the iVend, this folder will be created automatically. So in this folder, what we do is we keep this particular part as blank, because this is actually the API hosted place where you have hosted your APIs. So you need to specify your APIs where it has been hosted. So let's say in my case, my APIs are hosted on my same machine, but maybe tomorrow I want to host my APIs somewhere else. So in that case, I need to specify the hosted API address. That means IP here. So it's important to specify that. Okay. Basically, as far as the emulator is concerned, this emulator installation files are, you have to manage those emulator files. It doesn't come with the installations. Okay. And what possibly we can do is, here you can configure this emulator on your demo machine. Okay. And then you can have these files attached to it so that you can use them as a actual iVend handheld. Okay. Basically, there was a question from Mark that can we get this emulator device setup files and all. Yes, if you require this from our side, we can provide you the setup files for the emulators so that you can install it. And whenever you require, you can just contact us or you can send us an email so that we can make it available on the FTP and you can download and use it. But normally, you can find it in the market as well. So you can find the emulator, mobile emulator, which is Windows mobile emulator with 6.0 or 6.5. You install it and you can use this as per the procedure. And also, everyone, just to add this to your knowledge, that we already have the articles published in our City Access Knowledge portal, which actually tells you about how to configure these emulators straight away on your system. Okay, so this we have already published in our knowledge articles in our CKP, that is City Access Knowledge portal. Okay. So now, in order to move further, what we have to do is, first of all, we have to specify these complete criteria. So you have to make sure that you have these SQL connections and these iVend API services, and then you can save this. So whatever the changes you are doing, please make sure that you are saving it in the system to take the effect in the iVend handheld. And make sure the same file is being copied. The same file is being copied to the emulator or the Windows handheld where exactly you are looking for. Okay. Okay. I will just unmute. Hi, Jason. Yeah, I can see there is a question from you.
Rajesh?
Yeah.
Is there any hardware specs for the hardware to works that will be published on CKP?
Yes, we have basically hardwares which are actually compatible. That means, I must say, which are actually tested from the City Access team. So you can basically work with those Windows mobiles. We have tested on 2 different models of Motorola. Okay, and they are actually compatible with iVend. We have tested on that. The Motorola series is 9190G series and Motorola MC55A. These are the 2 models which we have tested with. And apart from that, we would actually support the Windows mobile devices which are on OS of 6.0 and 6.5. Okay.
No Android or iOS.
No. It's basically on a Windows mobile.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a kind of PDT, which is a portable data terminal, which works on the Windows platform completely.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay. So moving ahead, once you save this particular file, you have to make sure that you are copying the same files to your emulator. I will just take you straight away to my emulator so that I can show you that where exactly you can paste it. Okay, just to give the same answer to one of our attendee, that is Sholto. Sholto, okay, just for your knowledge, we are actually compatible with Motorola 9190G series and Motorola MC55A. These are the 2 models on which we have tested our iVend handheld. But apart from that, if you require, you can, work with the Windows Mobile handheld device, which is actually based on a OS of 6.0 or 6.5. So the models which we have suggested, we have tested on those models only, but you can try the other models also which have these OS, okay, these operating systems. Okay, now once you save this file over here in this particular folder, what you have to make sure is you are copying the same set of retail settings to your Windows mobile emulator. Either you have to do it on your actual device, that is a physical device, or you have to make it on an emulator. So when I talk about an emulator, I just want to show you how the emulator looks like. So everyone, this is the emulator that I'm talking about. Okay, this emulator is basically available with the emulation tool that we actually provide if in case you require in order to run it during the demonstrations. You need to go to the file, okay, and here what you can do is basically, I'll just take you back one screen ahead here. Okay, now here basically you can configure your handheld device. Okay, you have to make sure that file is copied in a specific area of the iVend handheld. When you go to the iVend handheld, you can see that this we have already configured. Okay, so what you have to do is you just need to configure this in your programs as well. So when you go to the programs, so here you have different programs available. Okay, and here you can click on the iVend handheld. This is actually the iVend handheld where you have to paste those files, because whenever we have any icon or any installer available here, that will be consisting of some backend files. So those files would be your retail setting files or any files which are related to iVend handheld. Okay, so basically you have to make sure these files which you are making changes with should be pasted under that particular area. Okay, so the same file should be copied on the handheld area. Okay, now once you copy this file, everyone, you have to make sure that there are the connections which are through in between your the store server and your particular mobile emulator. Okay, so my mobile emulator, you can see the same login screen here which I'm showing you on my presentation as well. I'll just try to show you only the emulator. Okay, so now in this emulator, basically you have to make sure that you are giving an ID password by which you would like to log in. Okay, so you can log in with your ID and password right here. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are logging in with ID and password. So please make sure that you are logging in with ID and password. Okay. Okay, so for my setup, I am specifying my ID and password, which is actually eligible for the mobile device. Now there is an important note that we have to take over here, everyone, that this emulator or this device, I won't talk about the emulator right now. Just think about a practical scenario where we have the physical iVend handheld device which is available at my store and I would like to use it for iVend inventory management. So in that case, make sure that you have a valid license for it. So let's say you are using two devices on a particular store, then you need two licenses of iVend handheld. Okay, so that is very, very important that you should have a proper license to use this particular device. So let's say I'm using two devices, then I need two licenses of iVend handheld. So I will just log in. So in this case, I'm using one, so I have one license. So I'm just logging in. It will take a while because it is connecting to my store straight away. Let me specify the ID and password. once you specify your login credentials, it will take you to the selection warehouse criteria. Okay. So now you have to select the warehouse as per your choices. Now here, when you select this warehouses, now I would like to explain you here that if suppose you are connected to your enterprise, if you are connected to your enterprise using this device emulator or using a physical handheld, then in the selection criteria you will find all the warehouses which are actually registered in your enterprise. But when you will open the same window at your store server, you will be able to see only the warehouse of your store, right? So in my case, I'm connected to my warehouse which is in a mixed mode. So that's the reason I can see all the warehouses here. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm using my warehouse. Okay. So this selection window will come when you will log into the system. Now you will select your particular warehouse against which you would like to make the inventory transactions. Press OK. And it will open the complete view of the the iVend handheld menu. It has your goods receipts, it has your stock transfers, management, your returns to vendor, your item lookup, your stock take, about the version of the handheld, and then of course the exit button. So this is exactly the first menu option then that you will find on the iVend mobile handheld device. Okay. Now going back to my presentation, I just want to show you there are two different stages that we can perform on the GRPO end. Okay. So first transaction that we are going to see is the goods receipt and the GRPO. Okay. The GRPO is basically a goods receipt which you are making against a purchase order which has been created against your store. Okay. So the GRPOs can be scanned straight away. That means the items can be scanned straight away on the point of sales or on your point of device, that is on the iVend handheld device, and that can be added to your iVend handheld, which will again create a back-to-back GRPO in your iVend retail management console. So here I am showing you two screens, everyone, or I should say three different images. The first image I'm showing you about the GRPO screen, which you can find on an emulator. Here I'm showing you a transaction which gets saved on the emulator and how it looks at the backend in the management console. So these are the three screens which I'm going to show you on the emulator, and we'll see how this will affect the synchronizations of iVend. So basically the GRPO could be created from SAP Business One against this retail warehouse. The purchase order can be created against this retail store from the SAP Business One, or a purchase order can be created from your store itself, which could be received using the handhelds. So let me quickly go back to my emulator to show you that how I can do a GRPO. So on my menu, I will click on goods receipt purchase order. And here you can see there are different options available on the system. First is the PO, that means the PO number. Then you have the item code. Then you have the quantity. Then you have the add row, remove row. That means if you are adding any row over here, you can add it. Or if suppose you would like to remove any of the item from the complete list of items or the articles which you have listed for this particular GRPO, that you can remove at any point in time. And then you can make it save, or you can cancel the complete the operation. You cannot cancel the purchase order, but you can cancel the operation of this GRPO on the handheld. Okay. Now you can scan the PO number here, or what you can do is you can select the PO number by clicking on this lookup. When you click on this lookup, everyone, you can see that there are two purchase orders which I have created in the system. Just to show you these purchase orders in iVend Management Console, I will take you quickly to iVend Management Console. and I will show you that where exactly these POs have been created. So when you look at the purchase order, I have created two different purchase orders in my system. One is for this vendor and the second is for this vendor. Okay, so now these POs are in open stage and I'm going to close this by receiving them on my iVend handheld. So you can see the same purchase orders on my mobile device. I will select one of the purchase order, click on OK. Okay. And now here you can select the item codes for this particular purchase order. So you can see on this PO, I have one item listed with 10 quantities. Okay. So I can select this particular item. And of course, I can specify the quantities. Let's say I have raised a purchase order for 10 quantities and my vendor is sending me only 5 quantities of it. So I can make a partial receipt as well in the system. Okay. So I can simply scan the item code here because I do not have the actual device. So I have mentioned it as an item code. But in the actual case where you have your own device, you can simply scan your item or the barcode of that particular item or the serial number or the batch number, or you can key in your item code in this area. Okay, and then you can specify the quantity as per your necessity or as per your requirements. Then you can click on add row. I'm clicking on add row, but you can press the enter button in order to get it added to the screen. Now you can save this transaction. Everyone, you can see this purchase order which we are making as a GRPO. You can see the screen name as GRPO. This is the transaction type, and please press on save. So once you press on save, this will give you a message that transaction completed successfully. So this transaction will be completed using this particular option. Okay, I can see there is a hand raised here. Okay, Rachel, I am actually unmuting you now. Hello? Yeah, Rachel, please go ahead.
Hi. I would just like to ask if it is just done by per item, or can we do this per batch? What if there's a lot of items in one GRPO?
No? Hello? What happened?
Can you hear us? Audio connection has been lost.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hi, Rachel, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Perfect.
You didn't get a question a while ago. You didn't hear us.
Yeah.
Do I need to repeat?
No. I actually replied on your query, but I think you were unable to hear me. All right. I will explain it again. So what will happen is when you have multiple items on a purchase order, you can keep on scanning on this item code area, and it will keep on adding your items on this particular grid. Okay. And if it is a serial control item or a batch controlled item, system will automatically take you to the next screen where you can scan your batches and serials. Okay. So to detail this particular option, if you want, you can refer to our the knowledge article which we have posted to the CKP, in which we have written in more detailed manner, and we have written that if suppose you do this, then what will happen in management console and what will happen in the enterprise. So you can find the entire details over there. And also we have uploaded our videos, so you can just go through those videos which will help you working on this handheld device. But just to answer your question, yes, if you have multiple items available on a purchase order, you can keep on scanning. It will add to this particular the GRPO. Okay. And there was another question which I can see from I think Ashwin. Yes, Ashwin, to answer your question, yes, of course we can scan the serials and batch numbers on the same screen. When you will click on the item code, if it is a serial managed item, system will automatically take you to the next screen where you can scan your serials and batches. Okay, so it is available in the system completely. You can scan your serials and batches. Okay. All right, perfect. So now we will see that the impact of this GRPO in the iVend management console. So I will quickly take you to the management console and let's see what happens over there. When you go to the inventory transaction menu, when you go to the GRPO, you can see that the GRPO which we have received on the iVend handheld is now available over here in this particular screen of iVend management console. When you click on view, you can see that the purchase order number and the GRPO number is also referred over here. Okay, so basically this is the GRPO which you have made in your particular iVend handheld. Okay, so basically this is one transaction. We are going to see multiple transactions in this particular handheld so that you can have a more clarity on this particular new feature which we have incorporated in 6.2. Now if you go and see the status of this particular purchase order over here in iVend management console, you can find the status as closed because you have received these 10 items in iVend with a reference as well. Okay, so this is how the handheld will help you scanning and saving your transactions on a mobile device, that is a Windows mobile device for iVend handheld. Okay, so let's move to the next transaction that we have. Okay, I think there is a query from Jason. Jason, I'm unmuting you now. Please go ahead, Jason.
Okay, hi.
Go ahead, Jason.
Hi, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Quick question with regards to what you have just demoed. Is it in a unplugged scenario, or it is in a plugged scenario with SAP, backend also capturing, that the GRPO is completed?
Perfect. That's a very nice question. I'll answer it now. So this option is available for unplugged as well as plugged both. Okay, so when you will create in the plugged version, when you will create a GRPO using the iVend handheld, can you please mute yourself, Jason?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so when you will receive the GRPO in the iVend handheld, okay, over the store counters or over the store, what will happen is it will close your GRPO, close your PO first of all in your local store management console, and then of course as a traditional event, it will send an event to SAP Business One, and of course that PO will be closed there as well. So it's a back-to-back integration with the SAP Business One. Okay. So definitely yes, it is workable in plugged as well as unplugged mode, in both modes. Does it answer your question? Hello?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I can again see Jason. Yeah, Jason, please go ahead. Hello. Jason, you have any other question? I can see your hand raised here.
Sorry, no further questions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Now we'll go back to the next transaction that we are going to see in our basically demonstration today. The next is the stock transfers. So basically we have seen in the traditional iVend management console, we can do some stock transfer shipments and stock transfer receipts, correct? Okay, there is a question again. Let me unmute Sandra. Okay, yeah, Sandra, please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, Rajesh.
Good afternoon.
Because in SAP 9.0, right, there is a function for cancellation. If we are going to cancel the GRPO, are we going to cancel it in the handheld or in SAP V1?
Okay, thank you for your question. Now I will answer that.
Okay.
First of all, the cancellation could not be happened on the iVend handheld. Okay, it's just to receive a document or to update a document using the GRPO methodology or using the stock receipt methodology or any other methodology, but it cannot close or it cannot cancel. I must say it cannot close any of the documents in SAP Business One or in iVend Retail. Okay, it cannot cancel. Cancellation is not possible on iVend handheld. You can only receive or send the stocks. Okay, that's only possible in iVend handheld. Okay.
Okay.
Now there is another query, I think, from Rochelle. Rochelle, I will unmute you now. Please go ahead.
Hey Josh, we have another question. You said that in the handheld we can receive, right? Or we can send. Is it real time? What will happen in the store? What if at the same time somebody has received it or trying to receive it? What would be the priority? What if the handheld is not yet connected to the internet? They are not synced in with the store yet. What will happen? Who is the priority then?
Basically, okay, let me answer this question. First of all, if you are in an offline mode, if you are not connected to the store component, then this handheld will not work. Okay, so even if you try to close or even if you try to receive this particular stock transfer or the stock receipt or GRPO on a handheld, it will immediately disconnect you, because it is must in order to make any transaction on a handheld device to be connected on a network. Okay, and when we talk about real time, it's a real time connection between the iVend handheld and the iVend store. So for example, if suppose I am connected to my retail store, okay, using the handheld, okay, and at any point in time during let's say I'm creating a GRPO and all of a sudden there is a connection, you are disconnecting from a network, then what will happen is your handheld will immediately stop processing the data. Okay, because you will get a retry message over there. Okay, that means you definitely have to reconnect. And let's say on a terminal management console you have opened that GRPO and you have saved it, then when you will try to retry this message, system will give you an error that this does not exist. Why? Because it has already been closed by any one of your users on the iVend management console store already. Okay, so as I said that this handheld is in a real-time mode connection with your store, so definitely there is no chance of discrepancies in order to save the transactions. Okay, so the moment you disconnect it, it stops. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. So now we will move forward. So we were talking about the stock transfers. So we have two types of transfers. One is the stock transfer shipment and the other one is the stock transfer receipt. So these are the two transactions which you can perform on the stock transfers of iVend Handheld. So just quickly we'll go and see how it is possible on the iVend Handheld. So let me open the iVend Handheld again. So this is the device emulator that we are talking about. Now here we have a stock transfer. When you click on stock transfer, you can see the options which are available in the menu. One is the shipment, one is the receipt. Everyone, there's one more thing which I would like to emphasize here. You cannot make the requisitions from the iVend Handheld. You can only make the shipments and the receipts using the iVend Handhelds, because the requisition option is only available for the terminal management console. That means the static management console, but not the handheld devices. Using the handheld devices, it will solve your purpose of scanning the items on the store level. It will give you an ease that you can scan your items or add your items straight away to your documents using the handheld, and it will be a mobile device which will be used on a mobility. All right. So that's the reason we do not give a requisition to be happened on this particular device. It's just to receive and ship the articles from your devices. So for the sake of demonstration, let me create a shipment. You need to specify a reference number to it. Now here you need to select the to warehouse, because as you know that the from warehouse will always be your warehouse, because this device is connected to your particular warehouse. You can see here the transaction is shipment, that is stock transfer shipment. Please specify the to warehouse to where exactly you are sending the stock. Let's say I will select the general warehouse. Now here you can keep on adding your items. You can scan your item code or a barcode. You can specify the quantity that you are shipping. Let's say I'm shipping 2 quantities. You can click on add row. You can see that the quantity has been added over here. And you can simply click on save. The screens are very much user friendly and very easy, and I must say it is in sync with iVend Retail Management Console. So that's why your user should not have so much of problem looking at the interfaces and working on it. So now we have created a shipment. Let's go back to the iVend Management Console and see what is the impact of this. So when you go to iVend Management Console and when you click on the stock transfer shipment, you can actually see the shipment which you have created. Okay. So this is the shipment, everyone, that we have created, and you can see there is a reference number which comes, which is STS012, which we have created from the handheld. Okay. So this shipment we have created from the handheld, which actually gives me a reference number in the reference number 1 field. And this ST00001, this is a normal document series which we default give for the iVend practices. So whenever you create any marketing documents, you definitely specify a specific document series to it. So that document series will be visible right here. Okay. Okay, there is a question now here. Okay, Mark, I will unmute you now. Yeah, Mark, please go ahead.
Hi, Rajesh. Thank you. With regards to the reference number, is that a mandatory field? Can you leave it blank? That is.
You can actually keep it blank. It is not a mandatory field. Okay. Why we require it? Because when you go back to your stock transfer shipments, you can at least identify, okay, this shipment has come from handheld. Okay. So it's not a mandatory field. It's just for your identification. You can leave it blank.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And the second question, please. I've seen this also in the GRPO document that we were doing previously.
Yeah.
When you are scanning the items,
yeah,
you always need to specify the quantity as well, right?
Correct.
Let's say you are receiving a large box full of 100 items, let's say, but you need to scan one of each. would it be possible to scan, like in the sense, not bypass the quantity field, so that if you scan by default, it will take only one?
Correct. So to answer your
I'm not
question,
sure if I'm
yes.
clear enough.
Yeah. You are clear enough, and I understand the practical scenario, Mark. That's a very good question, and I understand when you try to scan it on this shop floor, you will definitely be scan in pallets, and which will be having 200 or 300 items at one go. So definitely you will not be mentioning the quantity. So yes, of course, we support that. As soon as you keep on scanning the same item, it will keep on adding the quantity. Okay.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
Okay, so we will actually add the quantities on the screen. Okay, so I think there is another question from somebody. Okay, sorry, Mark, I think okay, I was speaking and I think there was a problem over there. Okay, all right, not an issue. Can you guys hear me now? All right, thanks, Mark. Okay, Mark, to answer your question, yes, what happens is when you actually making a purchase order, okay, from any of the store or from any of the warehouses, and when you try to make a GRPO, what happens is when you select that particular GRPO on a mobile device, that means on a Windows mobile device, what will happen is it will actually show you that item with the quantity which you are supposed to receive, and when you press enter, it will add the same quantity which was available on the purchase order. Okay, so that depends on the setting. So basically, also for that you have to make sure that you are making a setting in the system. So we have a retail setting which we can make in the system, and from there you can pick it up. All right. So basically what we are trying to enhance the functionality more in this particular iVend handheld. So eventually in future what we will do is we will actually try to give more flexibility in this particular mobile device, wherein you can keep on scanning and it will add the quantity in your field automatically. All right. So for now, if you say automatic, yes we are, but we are in terms of purchase order and the other shipments only, where it will copy the quantity exactly the one which is available on the purchase order. Okay. Okay, thank you. So we'll move ahead with this. We will look at some more transactions on the iVend handheld. So basically in this particular presentation, I'm actually trying to show you that this is what the shipment I have created in the iVend, and this is what the replication of this on the iVend retail store management console. Similarly, in the next screen, I have tried to show you with the receipt. If suppose you are making any stock transfer receipt against the shipment which is coming from another store, then that also can be saved into the system, and that will be visible in your management console immediately. As I said, it's a real-time synchronization between your iVend handheld and your iVend retail management console, which will save your document in the system. Okay. All right, perfect. So now moving ahead, I just would like to add some more features to this particular system, that is a stock management. When we talk about stock management, there are two types of documents which you can create in the handheld, that is goods issue and goods receipt. These are again the baseless. I usually call it as a baseless because here you do not have any basis on it. Like you don't have a shipment from anywhere, you don't have a purchase order from anywhere. You are just trying to have a blind GR into your system. All right. So in that case, that is also supported in the iVend handheld devices. Okay. So basically, just to show you an example of this, let me take you straight away to my iVend handheld screen, where I'm going to show you the GR with this particular effect. We will do some GR there and we'll see the reference in the iVend management console. Okay, so let me quickly take you to the iVend handheld. So this is my stock management. When I click on goods receipt, it will open a window like this. Now again, you can either give a reference number or you can leave it blank. It's up to you. Okay. For this demonstration, I'll give one reference number to it. Okay. And let me add the items to it. So let's say I'm taking an item. I'm specifying a specific quantity to it. And of course, I have so many options here. I can add one more item. And at any point in time, if suppose I would like to remove, I can select this particular row. I can click on remove to remove this particular product out of it. Okay. Now let me select this item again with, let's say, 4 quantities, and I'll say add row. Basically, you can click on enter also in your mobile device, so it will add to the row. But in my case, I do not have a device, so I'm using this emulator. So clicking on add row, press save. When you click on save, it will complete your transaction, and now you can go to iVend Management Console back to back and see the impact of it. So I'll quickly open my Management Console without taking much time, everyone. I'll go to the goods receipt. Now here, I would like to show you the impact of the receipt that I have done. Perfect. So this is the goods receipt which I have done on the handheld. You can see there is a reference number 1422, which I have specified on my handheld device. So this gives me an idea that, okay, this receipt is coming from my handheld. Similarly, you can see the document number which I have over here. That is the document number, which is a default document number which we specify in the base iVend, that you can find it here. And this completes your synchronization with the GR. Similarly, you can do this with your GI, and similarly you can do with the other shipments. Now coming back to my presentation, goods is sent to return to the vendor. You can also make a return directly to your vendor using the handheld devices. Let's say you have made a GRPO. As we all are aware of that, the return has to be done on the basis of the GR that you have done. That is a GRPO, goods receipt against a purchase order. So if suppose you would like to return certain material or certain items to your vendor back, then you can do that as well from the iVend handheld device. Okay. And the same kind of transaction you could see in the iVend Management Console. Now, I would like to show you one interesting transaction which is very, very important for the retail stores, and this is actually one of the best feature, I must say, in the iVend handheld, which we have incorporated to our iVend Retail Suite. Okay, and now we will quickly move to the iVend mobile device, that is iVend handheld, and we will see how we could do this stock take. Okay, let me take one question. I think Rochelle has a question. Yeah, Rochelle, I have unmuted you. Please.
Yes, hello, Rajesh. This is Benjo, colleague of Rachel.
Hi,
Yeah,
how are you?
yes, I have a question, sir, with regards to the GRPO, goods receipt PO, because I missed out. I wasn't able to start the meeting.
Okay.
Anyway, my question is, as indicated, when you are performing goods receipt PO, you mentioned that you're going to indicate a reference of the
Correct.
PO.
Correct.
In relation to SAP, what we do in SAP is we just copy from the details of PO. My question is, can we also do that when we perform GRPO in the handheld? We can just copy from the information of the PO so that there is a validation. We can counter check the content. As I see, you're individually inputting the items. So is there a function with GRPO that when you put the reference PO, it will automatically appear what are the components of the said PO?
Yes. Just to show you that over here, I can show you. Please look at my screen. Let's say this is the PO which I select. So you can see that the reference number has been copied here. Okay. And also when you go to the item code, it will only show you the items which you have actually mentioned against the purchase order.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
this
Thank you.
is
Thank you.
already available. So 5 quantities we have actually sent. This is the purchase order and this is the item. Okay.
So with regards to the price, it is not enabled here. Okay, right? That the warehouse cannot see the unit price of the said purchase order. Only the quantity. Or is it there's a way for us to see also on the column the unit price of this particular item?
sorry, when your voice is very low, can you please come a little closer to the mic? I didn't get that question. I would like to answer it, please.
With regards to the fields presented, there is no unit price. So is there a way that we can enable or make it visible, the unit price in terms of goods received?
Okay, perfect. To answer your question, there is a price field. When you talk about the price field, now let me explain you about the price here. What we have done is basically in at the time of GR or at the time of GRPO, what we basically mention is, if suppose you have given a cost price to this item on a product level, okay, so that particular cost price will be picked automatically against this GRPO. Okay, because in iVend 6.2 we have added a new feature which is a product cost. So what you can do is on the inventory tab of iVend, let me take you to the iVend management console quickly to answer your question. And let's say I will pick one product and I would like to show you the product cost which we define in the system against a particular warehouse. So here basically we specify a product cost. Okay. So whenever you are doing a GRPO, okay, system will, always try to pick the price which you have mentioned on the purchase order, and it will copy that from the purchase order to here. Now on the purchase order, which price actually you are mentioning is that price would be your cost price. If suppose you have mentioned a cost price over here, okay, in terms of the unplugged version, we consider this cost price, and in terms of plugged version on the retail store level, we have given a setting wherein you can specify a cost price list, which will be used in terms of making the purchase orders, because of course your purchase order will be created on the basis of the cost price only. All right. But if suppose you have not given a cost price, then definitely system will look for the base price which you have specified on the item card. Okay, so this is actually what in terms of the prices.
Okay, okay. What about the handheld? Is it visible in the handheld, the unit price?
Sorry, come again?
By just mere looking on the goods received PO. Can I also see the unit price on the interface of the goods received PO on the handheld?
On the handheld, basically you can see, but you can see in a different menu. You can see it on the item lookup. Okay, you can see this price on the item lookup, but not on this particular screen. So I can show you that as well. So basically, if you want to see the price of any particular item, then for that, what you can do is you can go to the item lookup. I suppose you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me close the background so that it will be more clear to you. It's perfect now, I guess. Perfect. So let's say I specify a particular item code here. And when I tab it out, basically you will be able to see the particular price, description, item code and everything. Give me a second, it is refreshing, so it will show you the exact price and everything. Okay, one moment please. So now here you can see for this particular item, you can see this is the description and the item. This is the inventory of my store, that what exactly the quantity lying down on my floor, and this is the price that I'm referring to. Okay, this is the price of this item. So you can of course see the price of this item on your handheld, but there is a separate view for it, which is item lookup, but not on that screen which you are talking about. Okay.
Okay. So does this price represent the selling price? Hello?
Sorry, Rochelle, I cannot hear you.
Hello,
Can you please
Rajesh?
come closer? Hello?
Expansion.
Yes, with regards to this price, is this price the selling price or the unit cost?
This price which you
What
can
does this
see on the
refer to?
screen is the, okay, let me explain you again. There are three different prices which we consider. One is the
Yeah.
selling price, one is the product cost, one is the base price. What is the selling price?
Mm-hmm.
Selling price is a price which you are attaching to a retail store and that will become an MRP. There is another cost which you assign to a product, that's a product cost, and there is a base price which you attach to a
Mm-hmm.
product. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
basically, first of all, my system, when it will show you here, it'll look for the selling price. If you don't specify the selling price, it will show you the cost price. If there is no cost price, it will show you the base price. Okay, so that is how it works. But when you save this particular document, and if suppose you have a product cost, then definitely you definitely be able to see this product cost on the management console level. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay, there is, I think there is a suggestion from David. Okay, David. Uh, Perfect. If there is a question from Mark as well. Okay, David and Mark, your questions are quite similar. Okay, Mark, in order to, if suppose you would like to see the selling price and cost price both, then you need to go to the iVend management console standalone. Okay, that means you need to go to the iVend management console to see all the prices of that particular item. You will not be able to see all the prices in one go on the iVend Handheld. Okay. Now, there is another question from David, I guess. Okay, David, I agree with you. Definitely a store person who is actually scanning these items, he is not actually should be able to see, he should not be able to see the price, and he is not actually relevant to that. He should only do the receiving of the material using the iVend Handheld, and that will be saved automatically in the system, and definitely you will be able to see that at the management console level. And definitely I do not need while scanning this item to be there. Okay, thanks David, that's absolutely right, that's absolutely right. Okay, I agree with you. Okay, yeah, Yvonne, I can see your text as well. The price being displayed on the handheld is in the section is too generic. Okay, see, this is what the lookup that we have specified for this particular iVend Handheld. As I said, that definitely in future we will try to enhance more properties and more things into the iVend Handheld. But as for the start is concerned, it's absolutely according to the retail practices. Now, let me move quickly to the next section, that is to the stock take. Okay, Mark. Thank you for your suggestion. Definitely, I will take it to the product team and we'll see if we can try to incorporate it. The question for Mark, sorry, the suggestion in fact from the Mark is, can we have two fields for the cost and one for the price? Okay, so definitely I can just note it down. One for cost and one for your selling price so that you can see this on the handheld. Perfect. I will definitely take this to my product team. Thank you. Yes, Jason, to answer your question, of course, because item matrix is also one of the part of the iVend, so definitely when you are creating any child items, that would only be scanned in the system. So of course, yes, it is compatible. Okay, thank you. Now let me quickly go to the next section, that is stock take. So this is actually last but not the least section of today's session, that is the stock take. First of all, everyone, we have to make sure the stock take which we are doing, we need to specify a reference number. Again, not mandatory. Okay, but I'm just giving a stock number. Okay, Now, as I said that the reference is not mandatory, but we all are aware of that when we make any particular inventory transaction, that means whenever we do any stock counting, we definitely need to have some text which is relevant to that. That means in the count reference text, you need to specify one text. Maybe here, definitely for the stock count, I will say stock count store 0012. So this is my stock count number. Now here I can keep on adding the items. So let's say I will scan some items here. I'll specify a quantity to it. I will add the row. Similarly, I'll pick one more item with the same quantity, or maybe the different quantity. And one of the beautiful feature I would like to show you here. Let's say I'm doing a stock count on the store, and I save this particular, the stock count. Okay. So what will happen is, once I save this document, this is going to create a back-to-back document into iVend Management Console. So once I save it, you will see that this particular stock take document gets created into iVend Management Console. You can go to the iVend Management Console, inventory transactions, go to inventory counting, everyone. You can see this is actually the stock count which we were doing. This is the ID of this STS0012. As I said that the count reference text is mandatory in terms of stock taking, but in terms of other documents, of course, the reference number is not mandatory. So please look at this and click on view. You can see that these are the two articles which we have added to my stock count, but I have not finalized my counting yet, because maybe let's say that counting person is on a break, and suppose he would like to take a break for a couple of minutes and he will come back again. So in that case, you can retrieve that stock take and you can add some more items to it. So let's say, for example, I'll go to the stock take again. I give the same reference number that I have given to the old one, like STS0012, and I will add some more items to it. So let's say I'll add one more item to it. Okay, and I put some quantities to it, let's say 2 quantities. I'll add one more item with some more quantities to it, let's say 5 quantities again, and I'll click on add row and save it. So once I save it, the transaction will be completed. And now let's see what is the impact on my iVend Management Console. When you go to the Management Console, you go to inventory transaction, inventory counting. Please open this shipment and you can see that now it has added 2 more quantities to it. Isn't it so beautiful in terms of making the transactions during your stock take? Because when you do a stock take, you do a stock take for a large amount of articles, right? So definitely the user who is doing this could take the breaks in between. So even if he takes the break in between, then also this document gets saved in the system and you can add so many items to it. Okay, so this you can do actually at one go, right? So this option is really very fantastic for the users. Thank you, Yvonne. Yes, it's a fantastic feature. So thanks to our product team for giving us such a nice functionality wherein we can have the breaks in between, and again we can relook at my particular transaction. Now let me complete this transaction so that it would be more clear to you. So once you do this stock take from your handheld, you can go back and click on edit of this transaction. You can see there are 2 buttons, as we all are aware of that. When you click on reconcile, that means you have done your counting. So you can see the show in store quantity and show the difference if suppose you have any differences, right? So you can keep on adding it here. And of course, in order to run the stock take, in order to run the inventory reconciliation, you can press on reconcile inventory, which will eventually complete your stock take. Okay, so perfect. All right. So to answer your question, Sandra, if item is serial managed or batch managed, of course, system will take you to a screen where you can say it is a serial managed or a batch managed. For example, let me do one transaction for you so that you can see it, how it is actually effective. So let me complete it first, then I'll show you the transaction as well. So in order to complete this particular transaction, you need to click on reconcile inventory, and it will create a reconciliation document in the system. So now you can see that I have received this reconciliation, and of course on the GR you can see there is a GR which has been created against a stock transfer shipment or against a stock take. All right. So as we all are aware of that, whenever you are doing the inventory counting, okay, what happens is there are two types of documents which gets generated. One is the goods issue, one is the goods receipt. If you have the excess stock, system will automatically create a GI, and if you have a less stock, system will create a GR which will complete your stock take. Okay. Now, just to answer the question of Sandra, I will quickly make one transaction for a serialized article so that it will be more clear to everyone. Let me do a GR quickly. Okay. For a serialized item. Okay. Let me take one serialized item here, please. I guess I have this as a serialized item, and let me put two quantities which I am selecting. Now when I click on add row, everyone, it will show one serial screen. So here you can scan your serials which you are actually willing to add to your document. So let's say I'm going to add two serials here. Okay, one serial number is, let's say, okay, then I'll press on enter. There is one more serial which I would like to add, that is SR0102. So you can keep on scanning so that it will add the serials to your list, and you can press on OK to complete. So these are the two serials which I am receiving. Yeah. So this is how you can run or work on the serialized articles. Similarly for the batch. So if suppose you are selecting a batch, it will take you to the batch window where you can specify your batch and you can select the items. Okay. So this is how basically you make transactions using this Handheld. Okay. So this note is specifically I have mentioned for the break-ins. If suppose you are breaking in between the stock take, then also you can actually retrieve that transaction, or you can add some more quantities to those transactions. Okay. Yes, Mark. Hello. Okay.
Rajesh.
Yes, Mark.
Hi. Again. Sorry to bother you once again, but just to make things clear, we are assuming that before you start the stock take on the handheld device, you would have already opened it through the management console, right?
Sorry, before doing this transaction?
No, with regards to the stock taking,
yes,
the stock cycle
correct
function.
Correct.
Before using the handheld device,
yes,
you would first need to open the cycle from iVend itself, correct? I can't just go and use the stock take facility on the handheld.
No. You can definitely go straight away and use the stock take functionality on the handheld. Okay, it's a kind of simulation that we have given you on the handheld as a management console straight away. Okay, so definitely, you know, even if your management console is stopped, then also, you know, your SQL services are running, right? And of course you are connected on the API. So definitely, even if you open the stock take on a handheld, it will definitely open that particular page for you and you can make the stock takes. But in order to reconcile the inventory, definitely yes, you have to open the management console, you need to select that particular stock take and you need to make the reconciliation. Okay.
Okay, and is there like some security rights on the handheld device? Can I block the stock take facility, for example, for certain users?
Okay, that's a nice question, Mark. But for the initial versions, we have not come up with that particular securities. But yes, I will again take this as a new request. Okay, and we'll see if we can add that to the future, the versions of the Handheld. Okay.
Okay, because although from one side it's nice, on
Correct.
the other hand it could be a bit dangerous, if left in the incorrect hands. I know that in order to reconcile, you still would have to go to the management
Correct.
console.
I was
However,
about to answer you with that.
why would I need?
Okay.
Why would I need? Why would I need to populate my management console with, say, dummy stock take, which are not really commissioned?
Correct. Correct. I understand. I understand totally your point, Mark. I will definitely, we'll have a conversation with the product team and we'll see if we can incorporate that in our upcoming versions. Definitely, yes. Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Rajesh. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, I can see there is one more question from Jason. Please, Jason, go ahead.
Hi, Rajesh. Just wanted to let everybody know that the handheld module is already general available, GA, and we also have the pricing done up. So if you are interested, please let me know so I can send you the price. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. So as we said that, yes, it's a licensed component. If suppose you would like to use the iVend Handheld, so definitely for the prices and the other things, you can definitely consult our, the CSM teams for the specific regions, and you can get the prices of the handhelds and all. Okay. Okay, there was a question from Mark. Yes, Mark, I understand that you are interested in pricing. Definitely, our CSM would be able to help you with the pricing and all. Thank you. I understand. That's an important part, or rather the important aspect of every module, correct? Okay, everyone. If you have any other questions, you can raise your hands or you can write it on a chat window, or you can send your queries to our CKP, or you can write an email straight away to me. You can write the emails directly to me so that I'll be happy to serve you with the answers. So if you have any queries, please raise your hands as we are on a Q&A session now. All right. It seems that everybody is satisfied with the functionalities that we have shown. Thank you so much. Once again, I would like to say that we have already uploaded all the articles to our CKP, to our knowledge portal, and also we have uploaded our videos so that you can just go and have a reference, and you can definitely get back to us in case of any questions or queries at any point in time. Now, once again, everyone, I would like to thank everybody to be available on this session and to make this session more interactive with your participations. Thank you so much, and we would assure you to have these kind of sessions in the near future as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day.